Well, hello, folks out there in YouTube land. Got a big show lined up for you. All right, yeah, the Georgia Senator is going after the college football playoff, and the Florida AG, I'm wondering if they're going to form an alliance. This is not going away for the college football playoff. Also, Dylan Raiola, we're going to get an update on him, see what's going on. But this video is probably going to come out a little bit late today. Unfortunately, I got stuck at work. It's a Friday.
Drink it up, big boss! All right, drink it up, gambler.
Yep, you know how it is. Sometimes with my job, I, got to do the best I can. I did try to get off early, but it didn't work out.
Drink it up here, boss. Drink it up here. Damn. He's gone. Get the dogs.
Yeah, those dogs, man. Once they get the scent, it's just is what it is. So I had to finish out my shift. But anyway, let's get into this big story. Turns out, and not only is Florida State and a Florida Attorney General going after the college football playoff, now a Georgia State Senator's after them. And this is being reported all over. And this one's on AL.com, Alabama, by Craig Stevenson. The story goes, Colton Moore, who represents a district in Georgia, has written a letter Thursday to the college football playoff executive, Boo Corrigan, decrying the fact that the Bulldogs were left out of the playoff. He implored Corrigan to reverse the playoff committee's grave error and injustice done against the university, its fans, and the people of Georgia. And what he wants to do is take the Orange Bowl, which is Florida State versus Georgia, and he wants to include that as part of the college football playoff. He said, despite losing 27-24 to Alabama in the SEC championship game, Georgia is still one of the 4 best teams in the country and thus should be included in the playoff. Your mandate is to send the 4 best teams in the country to the playoff, and instead you created a political mess with the decision based on bias to weaker conferences and teams who want nothing to do with it play the Georgia Bulldogs. So he's saying they're afraid of the Bulldogs. And there might be some truth to that. Nobody wants to play the Bulldogs right now. And especially as mad as they're going to be. Look, they've won 27, 28 games in a row, won 2 natties. So, of course, nobody wants to play them in that situation. So, there is some truth to that. Said this grave error is one Georgia may have to live with for generations to come. You have proven that the historical body of work by UJ staff and future Hall of Fame coaches count for nothing, even amidst the near smallest margin of possible. After 29 straight wins, it's 29, and arguably the most exhilarating SEC championship game in history. So at some point in the future, it may be reasonable to have this committee replaced by artificial intelligence because the current intelligence has caused an undue embarrassment to college football, an injustice upon the state of Georgia and the university system of Georgia. Man, he wants to replace him with AI. Holy crap. And here's his seal, state of Georgia seal, and the letter that he sent. It says, Moore joins several lawmakers in Florida who have made similar demands of the committee to reverse its decision and include the unbeaten Seminoles in the college football playoff. CFP officials have yet to respond, not that anyone expected them to do so. Well, this is an Alabama site. Look, I don't have any problem with Alabama being in the playoff at all. Just so you know, if you've watched my channel, you know I hate the 4-team playoff, and the only thing I can't stand more is the 2-team playoff. I think we should have gone to the 12-team playoff already, which was supposed to happen in 2023. But an alliance was formed and started by Phillips of the ACC, which Seminoles are part of that. And oh, by the way, the commissioner that wanted the 12-team playoff was Greg Sankey of the SEC. So he tried to get it done, but an alliance was formed by 3 conferences to stop it.
It is with great reluctance that I have agreed to this calling.
So the ACC, Florida State probably ought to be pretty mad at Phillips as well. And as far as the SEC is concerned in Georgia, the SEC conference commissioner tried to have the 12-team playoff. Georgia would be in right now.
Okay.
Would absolutely be in had Sankey had his way. So this is just a big mess, and this is what happens when you screw over an undefeated team. Then Georgia, who clearly is in the top 4, didn't get in because they lost a game at the wrong time. Had they lost it at the first of the season, they'd be fine. They'd be in, but they lost it at the end. Now, we're always told the regular season counts first game just like the last. No, it doesn't. That's not true. It's ridiculous. It's not enough teams. Now, I originally wanted a 16-team playoff, but after reading and understanding the 12-team playoff, I like it better. And that's the difference. See, I can be reasonable about things like this. I'm not stuck on 16 or else. No, if there's a better way to crack a walnut, then do it. And having a bye for the top 4 makes the regular season incredibly important. Letting 5 through 8 have a home field advantage is a huge advantage, and they deserve it for having a better season than 9 through 12, thus making the regular season extremely important. And the Final Four just needs to be happy they're in, and yeah, they got to go to somebody else's field and win. Well, play better next year, and you'll be in the 5 through 8 or the 1 through 4. I think the 12-team playoff it's a little bit genius, really. I wonder if AI came up with that. May have. So you've got the Florida Attorney General out there, and they may form an alliance. I wouldn't be a bit surprised. And also the AG, her name's Ashley Moody, has been set aside $1 million by the governor to not only investigate, but to start a lawsuit if she deems it necessary.
$1 million.
That's right. So the ball's rolling, and Boo Corrigan's up there going, man, this sucks. I guarantee you they wish they'd have gone to that 12 team this year, because then, yeah, you're going to have some people complain that are 13 through 16. But they're going to have 2 and 3 losses each. They're not going to be undefeated conference champions, and they're not going to be undefeated up until the conference championship lost by 3 to Alabama, and Alabama's an excellent team. So to me, the teams that deserve to be in there are in there, but there's 3 being left out, and those are pretty easy to determine. That's Florida State, Georgia, and I really think Ohio State had a legitimate claim to be in it as well, and maybe even Oregon, but they would be in if it was 12-team playoff. So that's going to solve a lot of problems, but this is not going to go away. These politicians are on this, and they're going after the college football playoff. It's just the way it is, and it's going to get ugly. And it's been interesting to hear all the different talking heads. They're not happy about this at all. You've got Paul Feinbaum, who's calling it fake outrage. You've got Cole Kubelak, who's calling it laughable. And then Kirk Herbstreit said it's really a fringe group, whether it's Georgia or Florida State, and that they're despicable lunatic fringe. So needless to say, people are very opinionated about this. And here's the thing I will tell you, it's not a fake outrage. The people at Florida State are ticked off. Their fans are furious, and they feel very cheated for obvious reasons. You go undefeated and you don't get in? What else could they do?
You're a monster. I'm not the monster here. You are.
Or were they supposed to be Superman? Are they supposed to fly around and scale tall buildings? What else can you do but 13-0? And Georgia, nobody wants to play Georgia right now. They would be favored against every single team, probably even Alabama by a point or 2. So I just don't get it. It's not fair. It's not, but it is what it is. And also, talking about Georgia, Dylan Raiola. And this is on Husker Corner by Oliver Vandervoort. Says Dylan Raiola joining Nebraska football all but a wrap, recruiting analysts say. And it says Nebraska Florida fans are still pinching themselves trying to determine if the Raiola flip rumors are true. Chad Simmons of On3 believes that the visit with Raiola has planned for this weekend means it's a done deal for Nebraska. Also, Josh Newberg, Paldani said, you're right, it's trending towards Nebraska, so much so it sounds like it's all but a wrap once he arrives in Lincoln this weekend. And the Huskers thought they had the quarterback from Ohio State, Kyle McCord, but after a lot of people thought he was going to go ahead and be the bridge, the quarterback for next year, with Raiola obviously being the guy that would be getting ready to start the following year. As a freshman, you don't really want to throw a freshman in there, or at least I wouldn't. But it turns out he's now visiting Syracuse. So, and maybe he was a little bit concerned about Raiola coming in there, and they would maybe feel pressure to start him over Kyle, which, I don't know if that would have been the case. But anyway, Nebraska's now got all their chips in for Dylan. And I think they're going to get him because if you look right here, Dylan has arrived officially in Lincoln, Nebraska. So it's not looking so good for Georgia. Now, here's the thing. If this were 10 years ago, this would really be devastating to Georgia. But Georgia is one of the teams that can totally handle this, not only because of the transfer portal, but, anybody's going to want to start for Georgia. They know they can win a natty there because it's been proven over and over. Look, Stetson DoorDash Bennett won a national title there, and he was a walk-on. So I'll just go ahead and tell you, there's plenty of quarterbacks that like to be there. So if they're ever short a quarterback, that transfer portal will be filled with quarterbacks wanting to come in there. So while this would have been devastating years ago, especially if he flips at the last second, which really sucks for Georgia because they could have spent the last 6 months getting a quarterback.
Once again, things that could have been brought to my attention yesterday!
Now, I know they got a 4-star guy, but they're used to having 5 stars. They usually stack them like cordwood over there, which is almost impossible to do now. I mean, look at Brock Vandagriff. He's headed up to Kentucky, and he'll start for them. You can't keep guys on the bench that are 5 stars. They just won't sit there. They don't have to. and they can go get the same amount of money or more somewhere else. So it looks like Raiola probably going to end up at Nebraska. It almost certainly, especially if he's already there. If Georgia wasn't able to keep him from flying up there, it's probably a done deal. Now, we'll find out over the next probably 48 hours, but I would think he's going to sign with Nebraska. But again, like I say, Georgia will be fine. They will not be hurting for a quality quarterback. Not at all. And this guy, you never know. He may pan out and be great. He may not. And for the Tennessee fans, Cooper Mays is coming back, who is our all-SEC center. And that's really big for us. He's our most important offensive lineman. And it looks like everybody's coming back on the offensive line to speak of. And also the defensive line, with the exception of Tyler Barron. We'll see what he winds up doing. But we've had a bunch of guys that are coming back. And, of course, our excellent running back is going to the NFL, which we all expected. Jalen Wright. And he'll probably, he's going to be in the top 3 rounds for sure. Just a fine running back, and he's done a great job for us. So that's what's kind of going on with the Vols as well. Just want a little quick update there. So I'm going to be watching this college football playoff scandal, for lack of a better word, with the AG going after him. Now Georgia state lawmakers going after a college football playoff committee. It's going to get very litigious very quickly, and it's going to get ugly. And the only really compensation that can be, adjudicated, if that's the right word, is money. Maybe they can get some money out of them because Florida State can say, hey, you cost us $10 million. And Georgia could do the same. But I don't know. Georgia's won so much they may not want to go down that path. But I think Florida State will. This fake outrage nonsense, it's not fake outrage. It's just not. I've talked to too many of them through the comment section and all that. And if you like this content, be sure to hit that like button. Lets me know to continue to cover the SEC, my Vols, of course, and all this college football playoff stuff. And I've still got my eye on Michigan.
It's got to be America's team.
And if you've not subscribed, it's on your right, my left. Just hit this little button right here. I'd appreciate it. Costs you nothing, and it'll help you get my videos. And right over here is the most recent video that YouTube thinks you'll enjoy. And we'll see you next time on Sports Talk Jay.